Budget for financial year 2022-2023 with post-COVID-19 economic recovery high on the agenda was presented to the country on June the 14th, 2022 under the theme Industrialization for Inclusive Growth, Employment and Wealth Creation, and the projected revenue base is 48.1 trillion shillings to finance the budget. Now here is what you need to know as inflation rose from 2.7% in January 2022 to 6.3% in May 2022.
Uganda's GDP per capita increased to $1,046, which is 3.7 million Uganda shillings per person per year, according to Finance Minister Matia Kasaija. Despite the impact of COVID-19 on the country's economy, the size has expanded to 162.1 trillion Uganda shillings, which is approximately $45.7 billion. On recurrent expenditure, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development takes 2.3 trillion Uganda shillings. Minister of Defence and Veteran Affairs has been allocated 1.2 trillion Uganda shillings, while Lands, Housing and Urban Development will take 503 billion Uganda shillings.
Monitoring and evaluation is very important. It is not enough to give a budget and you go out and give money without monitoring and evaluation. Effective monitoring will be important. You have seen the minister in charge of monitoring, Office of the President, going to places where they spent money, where they put the budget, and he finds nothing has been done, or he finds short work has been done. And you see, when such thing happens, they blame it on the government, and they do you know, the government they blame it on the NIM government. But do you know who implements government activities? Is the technical people, the public and civil servants. So we will need a lot of monitoring and evaluation so that we deliver what has been allocated.
Budget allocations for financial year 2022-2023. 3 trillion Uganda shillings for improvements of security and security infrastructure. 1 trillion Uganda shillings for parish development model. To enhance anti-corruption drive, justice, law and order took the share of 1 trillion Uganda shillings. 381.6 billion Uganda shillings was allocated to judiciary. 95 billion Uganda shillings for DPP. 876.4 billion Uganda shillings for Uganda Police. 308.7 billion Uganda shillings for Uganda Prison Service. 79.4 billion Uganda shillings for IGG. On development expenditure, healthcare deliveries were allocated 3 trillion Uganda shillings, while Minister of Energy gets 1.5 trillion Uganda shillings for sustainable energy development. Uganda National Roads Authority has been given 2.5 trillion Uganda shillings in development expenditure, signaling the significance of infrastructure in the post-COVID-19 recovery. 628 billion shillings to mitigate climate change. 564.39 billion Uganda shillings a boost for agriculture production. 1 trillion shillings agro-industrialization standards and market entry. 194.7 billion shillings for tourism. 904.1 billion shillings for development and commercialization of minerals, oil and gas. 1 trillion Uganda shillings for water and environment sub-program. 4 trillion shillings for education and skilling. 274.4 billion Uganda shillings for advancing innovation. 4 trillion Uganda shillings for transport and infrastructure. 1 trillion Uganda shillings for power infrastructure. 124.2 billion Uganda shillings for digitalization. 495 billion Uganda shillings for salaries of medical workers, scientists and science teachers. 5 trillion Uganda shillings for decentralization, funding and local government. Alarm has been sounded on the rising public debt, which increased by a whopping 15% from 2020 to December 2021 to the last recorded 73 trillion Uganda shillings.
The private sector needs to keep working with us in a way of asking that we facilitated them, not giving them money. We create an enabling environment We find markets for them. We ensure we have systems that ensure quality and standards, because the private sector, they want a profit and they are willing to make a profit, and they have invested. That no economy can do without debt. USA has debt, and actually USA has Chinese debt. So you can see a developed country has a developing country's debt. So no country will stop borrowing. I always encourage that the easiest way to get foreign exchange is by exporting, by earning it. But countries where they get debt.
Debt is expected to continue rising, with projections it will get to over 52% of GDP, with government hopes for recovery and improvement of household income stacked on the parish development model. The budget committee was unhappy with the homogenic allocation of a flat rate of 100 million Uganda shillings per parish, which they said is not alive to the dynamics of every parish in Uganda. The shilling depreciated by 1.7% in 3 months to June 2022 and by 6.7% against the dollar between June 2021 June 2022. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
There you have it, as far as this year's budget is concerned, and thank you so much, Sandra, for breaking it down for us.